Hey, if you're in the paint and body industry, I believe that we're sitting on a gold mine. And every time I talk to technicians, or every time I talk to young guys going to vocational schools up for paint and body, I'm like, dude, y'all are in a gold mine. And they always ask me, why do you keep saying that? Why do you say that the paint and body industry is a gold mine? And I said, okay, look, let's say if you were to go to school to be a lawyer, right? How long would that take you to be in school? And then how much debt will you have coming out of school? So when you come out of school, yes, you'll have a degree, but you're going to be in debt. And also, too, nobody thinks about this. In order to be a lawyer, you have to play the part. And what I mean by that is, like, you can't just show up to your client's house, or you can't just show up to your office with the regular clothes. You have to have the suit, you have to have the car, you have to have the watch, you have to have all this stuff to make it look like you have some credibility so that they'll want to hire you, okay? As a paint and body tech, you're kind of in the background doing a lot of the work. But the good thing about the paint and body tech is that, you know, most technicians get into it at a young age, and they kind of just learn as they go. They don't really have a lot of schooling that is required to get into the industry. It does take, you know, constant self-improvement and like iCar classes and like 3M classes, just to kind of learn what the industry, how it's changing and stuff like that. But it's as far as like getting a degree to be in the auto body industry, that you don't have to do that, okay? So one of the things that's really misunderstood with the paint and body industry is that a lot of technicians don't feel that they can achieve any kind of major success or any kind of major wealth with their skills. But I'm here to tell you different. You have the capability of being a millionaire, a multi-millionaire, and if you want to take it as far as to becoming a billionaire, you can. Like, you can. And I'm going to show you a couple of formulas that will help you get that jump start and start to help you build the momentum to get into a position where you can make some big decisions. You can make some big moves that are really going to change like your personal situation. It's going to change your family's life. It's going to change your family's life. Okay, let's get started here. So you have a job. You're either a painter or you're a body man. And even if you're an estimator, this can apply to an estimator as well. But so your job right now is your only source of income, okay? It's your only vehicle. So it's your vehicle, okay? Your vehicle is only capable of so much. Your body is only capable of so much. You can only work so many hours a day, okay? The good thing about being a paint and body tech is that you're on commission, so you can flag as many hours as you want. A quick tip on how to flag as much hours as you can and make sure you're maximizing your time is to make sure that your health is good. If you have a poor diet and you're not staying hydrated, you're not going to have the energy level to go longer hours. Okay, so that might be a tip right there. If you want to figure out how you can get more out of your day, check your diet, check what you're eating. See if what you're eating provides enough energy for you to go, you know, those extra hours or whatever you got to do to flag those extra hours, okay? Okay, you're only capable of producing so much, but how do you get ahead? How do you figure out how to take it to the next level? How do you figure out how to build some wealth? Because if you're new to the paint and body industry, or if you've been doing it for a couple of years, I'm sure you're making a good amount of money, okay? But you got to remember, like, as you get older, your body gets older and your energy levels start to decrease. So now you got to be more effective with your time, okay? So now you don't have as much, your energy levels are low, you don't have enough time, you're getting older, your body, your knees are going to start to go out, your back. So one way to start to build the momentum up is to, if you don't have this set up, you might want to look into it, but you want to make sure you have a life insurance, okay? The life insurance is basically for your family's protection. If you're a single guy and you don't care about that stuff, and you just, you know, whatever, then you don't, I mean, if you don't want to get life insurance, that's fine. But if you have a family, look into getting like some kind of life insurance. And that, man, that's just free money. Like, that's just free money that you could be paying every month in case something happens to you. It goes to your wife, it goes to your kids. That's just a little something, a little backup, okay? You can also set up 2 mutual funds, okay? The mutual funds are not gonna be like a retirement or nothing. These are just gonna be your little stash spot, okay? You wanna set up 2 mutual funds. You can name one personal and then one family, okay? The personal one, you wanna contribute every week. Every time you get paid, you wanna make sure you're contributing something to these accounts. You wanna make sure these accounts are starting to grow, okay? The reason why we wanna start building these accounts is we want to start to create it's called a compound effect. We want to start to start putting some money aside, and it's going to start to build up. We're not worried about the interest. We're not worrying about any of that. We just want to store it somewhere that we don't have easy access to it. Because if you put this money into your savings account, if you put it in your sock drawer, if you put it under your bed, you're going to know it's there and it's going to be real easy to get to. You want to put it somewhere where it's a little bit more difficult to access, so it's gonna build up. You can also see if you can get auto draft from your bank account or from your business or from your company. Ask your company, say, hey, can you direct deposit a percentage each week into these accounts? Some companies will do that for you, okay? This is gonna be the starter. This is gonna be the starter vehicle. This is gonna be your second vehicle that you're starting to build. So this is your first vehicle. This is going to be your second vehicle. This is going to be your third vehicle, okay? This is just a lifeline. If something happens to you, you're gonna get some cash for that. You can get 150,000, 200,000, 500,000. If you want to get $1 million, get $1 million, okay? So this is your first vehicle. This vehicle is going to start to put some money aside for these second vehicles to get these rolling, okay? The next thing you're going to want to do, this is going to take some time. So you might want to give it about maybe, I would say 1 to 5 years to let this build up. 1 to 5 years. And that all depends on how much you want to contribute. If you want to contribute more, but I would suggest starting off with like maybe start off with 3%. Start off with 3% every week of your check, and then every quarter maybe go up 1%. Okay, so there's 4 quarters in a year, so you can say, okay, I'm gonna start off with 3% for my checks, and I go to here. Okay, and when the next quarter comes, change it up 4%. Okay, and then get to a percentage where you feel comfortable. If you get to 10%, the reason why you want to do it slow is because if you try to say, okay, you know what, I'm gonna put 10%, it's gonna be too fast of a shift, and you're gonna get thrown off. You're gonna end up going back and getting this money out. So start off at 3% every quarter, go up 1%, and you're gonna start to increase the amount you're contributing to these accounts. Like I said, this is gonna be your second vehicle. Okay, this is your first vehicle right here. We'll call this number 2, 3 vehicles. Okay, so we're building 3 vehicles here. Okay, whenever these start to build up, it's gonna take 1 to 5 years. You gotta give it some time. It's not gonna happen overnight. It's called delayed gratification. Delayed gratification is the key. Okay, let it build up. While you're building this up, decide what your next moves are gonna be. Okay, decide what your next play is gonna be. Okay, you don't want to be living day by day by day. I'm just gonna live and see what happens tomorrow, and you don't want to do that. Build this up as this is building up. 1 to 5 years is a good enough time to decide what your next move is gonna be. Okay, you're either gonna want to open a business, or you either want to get in real estate investing. So you got to find out what fits you. Some people, like myself, I said, you know what, I want to do both. I want to commit to doing both. I went from technician to this to say, okay, you know what, I want to do both of these. I want to figure out how I'm capable of doing both of these. Let me do it. I want to do it. Okay? If you want to go into business, you want to make sure that you start to study these areas. What are the skills that I need to open a business? Okay, you're gonna have to have leadership skills. You're gonna have to have some money skills. You're gonna have to have some marketing skills. And you might even need to hire a coach. Someone to help you guide you through the whole business structure and the do's and the don'ts, and they're just gonna navigate you, because if you try to do this on your own, it's gonna take you a very, very long time. Okay. Some of the ways you can learn, like this is gonna be the common 3 ways. People learn by trial and error, and that's the most expensive. You can learn by books, or you can learn through like mentors. Okay. You want to either learn through books or mentors. Learning through mentors is probably going to be the most effective way, because they've already done it, and it's actually like someone you can actually talk to, so they're gonna help you. They're gonna guide you through that a lot faster. With real estate, the thing people get confused on real estate is they always say, "I'm gonna go get my realtor's license. I'm gonna become a realtor." Okay, a realtor and an investor are 2 different people. A realtor is thinks one way, and an investor thinks another way. Okay, a realtor is a whole different ball game than an investor. Some people think they're the same. There's some real estate agents that are investors as well, but they know the both different. There's 2 different worlds in there. So don't get that confused. Make sure you decide, okay, do I want to become a realtor, or do I want to become an investor? There's a difference there. A realtor is just another job. An investor is going to be to build wealth. So I'm suggesting becoming an investor, okay? If you decide to become an investor and look into like real estate investing, you want to make sure that you first start to learn the term. Start to learn the lingo. It's kind of like in the body shop industry. If I tell you we're gonna R&I this trim, if we're gonna color sand and buff, we're gonna blend, we're gonna back tape, we're gonna block and sand. Those are all terms. You need to learn those terms. Also, if you want to go into real estate investing, you got to learn the terms that they speak in that industry. That way, whenever you get around those people in that industry, you can have those conversations with them. Because how awkward would it be if I was to go to your shop or come to work with you, and you're telling me, hey, I need you to cut and buff that door, and I'm like, what the heck does that mean? Cut and buff? Like, what are we talking about? So the better you are familiar with the terms, the better you're gonna be accepted to that industry, because they're gonna be able to have those conversations with you. Another thing I would suggest is there's a pretty cool podcast and YouTube channel. It's called Bigger Pockets. Bigger Pockets has a lot of good content for first-time investors. It shows you how to evaluate property. There's also like different forms. You can also go to like the website, and you can actually connect with people in your own community. It's a pretty cool little website. And then the last thing you want to do is you want to figure out what you're trying to achieve. And what I mean by that is, like, most of the time when people start to get in real estate investing, they just start to buy the first deal they find. Oh, there's a house for sale. Let me go buy a house. Or they look on the MLS and they find a house for sale, and they're like, I'm going to buy this house. And they start buying these houses, but they really don't know what they're trying to achieve. Let me give you an example. So if your goal, if you say, you know what, I just want 2 or 3 rental properties just to have some extra income, because I don't have no kids, and I don't have no house payment. I just need some extra cash. I need some extra flow of income just so I can travel, and just so I can have some spending money. Okay, that's fine. But if you say, you know what, in 10 years I want to be worth $1 million. Okay, if your goal in 5 to 10 years to be worth $1 million, $2 million, $5 million, that means is it gonna direct me to the outcome that I want to get? Okay, like I said, it gets kind of complex right here. But if you're just buying properties just because, you're gonna get confused with what the end result is. You need to define what you're trying to accomplish. If you're looking to retire in 10 years, okay, well, how much do you need to retire in 10 years? Do you need to have how much wealth do you want to have? How much cash flow do you want to have? How fast do you want to be able to sell? For example, if you have a duplex, if you buy a bunch of duplexes and you're like, you know what, in 10 years I plan to move to a different country. I plan to move out of state. I plan to sell them. It might be a little harder to sell those duplexes than it is to sell a single family. So you got to look at all these little things to decide what your end result's going to be. Okay? You might say, you know what? I don't want a bunch of properties. I just want one big property because I don't want to be managing all these properties. I want to just have one property. So your goal might say, okay, you know what? If I just buy maybe like a 13 unit, a 15 unit, a 20 unit. And so if that's your goal, then you know, okay, you know what? I need to save up enough money for a down payment. Okay? That's why I'm telling you, like, stack this up, this money up, but as you're stacking this up, educate yourself on the areas that you need to know when you're going to go into that industry. If you choose to go into business, how much money are you going to need to go into business? How much money is it going to take to start your business? How much is it going to take? You know, if you're looking to open a shop, you're going to have to buy a paint booth. You're going to have to buy air compressor. You're going to have to buy computers, a frame machine, overhead, website. Like all this stuff comes into play. So you got to figure out how much that's going to cost just to get things going. The same thing with real estate investing. You know, if you're looking to buy a house that's $100,000, then that means you have to have $20K for down payment. You got to have at least 20% down. So this is going to just start to stack money aside. So whenever you decide to make a bigger move, you can jump into one of these areas. You're not going to be scrambling so much. You're going to have some kind of foundation. You're going to have some kind of structure going into it. You know, this is something. So just by you being a paint and body technician, you have the capability of doing great things. Like you have the opportunity. You have, I mean, there's so much money to be made in the paint and body industry. There's so much money to be made. And the way the industry is going, it's getting so innovating. It's getting so fun. It's getting so attractive, you know? And, you know, if you're a painter, if you're a body man, hey man, get sharp on your skills. Improve yourself. Make sure that you're organized. Make sure that you go to work looking good. Make sure you feel good. Make sure you take care of your body. Make sure that you're getting the right, you know, safety equipment so that you can put in those long hours, so that you can put in the long years. Okay? I want to share one more thing with y'all that's going to be very important. And by understanding this whole concept and this whole, it's not really a formula. It's just the way you view things. So I grew up, you know, wanting luxury items. Okay, if you grew up with barely nothing, you want luxury items. And so we think that the harder we work, if we work overtime, if we get a raise, we can buy luxury items, okay? The problem is whenever you get extra money, you go and buy a luxury item, okay? You go buy a luxury item. You go buy a boat. You go buy a fancy car. You go buy some jet skis. You go buy toys, you know what I mean? Stuff. And so what happens is, you don't really get to enjoy those things. You don't really get to spend a week on the beach in your boat. You don't get to go fishing during the week because you have to work. And so by the time the weekend comes, you're probably tired. Or by the time the weekend comes, you're like, man, I'm just going to wait. So you buy a boat because you make extra money, but then you don't have time to enjoy it, okay? What the rich people do, and successful people, is they buy their toys with assets. They invest in real estate, different businesses to pay for this. They don't pay for it out of their job. They'll say, okay, what can I invest in? What can I invest in that'll produce some cash flow to pay for the boat? Because if you have an asset that's paying for your boat, then that means you can take some days off from work. You see that you buy luxury items with assets, with cash flow assets. That's how you buy luxury items. You don't buy luxury items by working overtime. You don't buy luxury items with getting a raise at work. You buy luxury items with assets, cash flow. When those assets start to cash flow, that's what you buy the luxury item with. And so that way you're not killing yourself at work. Because if you say, okay, you know what, now I bought a boat, so now I got to flag 90 hours. You're never gonna get to enjoy the boat because now you're having to flag more hours. You're having to work longer just to pay the boat, and you don't get to enjoy it. So I'll throw that tip in there for y'all. Hey, I appreciate y'all's time. I appreciate y'all listening. Thank y'all for watching. I hope this information was helpful. And man, 2020 is gonna be your year. If you're a paint and body technician, this message is for you. If you're in the body shop industry, this message is for you. Even if you're a mechanic, this message is for you. You have so much opportunity. There's so much out there right now. The technology is changing. It's getting world class. I'm enjoying it. So one of the things too, man, I'm gonna share with you really quick is that if you're a shop that's still operating in the old days, that they don't want to get with technology, you're gonna be left behind because these vehicles coming out are full of technology. You have to have computers. You have to have scanning systems. You have to have the accurate information. You have to have your techs. You know, A1 techs, you got to be on those techs to make sure they're delivering on what they got to get done.